What's going on, everyone? So Richard Jefferson was asked, what would it take for the Lakers to be a championship caliber team? And he responded, the Lakers are 3 all-star caliber players away from being on the Celtics level. That's how far they are from the defending champs. Now, look, first off, speaking of Boston, they were able to do something that probably isn't going to happen again unless just organically, you're able to develop essentially 5 all-stars, right? Like, they were able to do and acquire these guys before the new CBA kicked in. They were able to go get Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday, and it took place over the course of seasons, right? Like, they didn't get all these guys at once. And, the Celtics had a lot of hurdles and obstacles that they had to get over with just Tatum and Brown. Not this past season, right? But could they get over the hump, right? Is Tatum the best player on a championship team, right? Is Brown able to kind of be that co-star, or are they going to clash, right? Like, are they mentally tough enough? There was a lot of questions about Boston that they were able to answer. And in part, they got Derek White and then followed that up by next season getting Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. They were able to put together this team that not very many, if anybody, is really going to be able to replicate. But they're also lacking depth, which is a big thing, especially with guys like Kristaps Porzingis and his injury history, along with Al Horford getting older, right? Like Drew Holiday's getting older, right? Like, you got a lot of just noise with Brown and Tatum, and how long does that marriage last? A lot of questions with the Boston Celtics, right? But I disagree that the Lakers are 3 all-stars away. First off, if the Lakers and the Celtics played in the finals, LeBron James and Anthony Davis would be the 2 best players on the court. Like, and that's not even like an argument. It's not even a question. LeBron is better than everybody on the Celtics, like one-on-one goes. And Anthony Davis better than everybody on the Celtics, one-on-one goes. So the Lakers would immediately have the 2 best players on the on the floor against the Celtics, right? And that in and of itself is a huge factor. I don't think the Lakers need this super duper team, right? Like, the Celtics built a super team. I mean, again, you have 5 all-star caliber players. You have 2 of the best 3-and-D guards in the league. You got an all-star that was not that far removed from being the franchise face for the Knicks, right? Like, you're talking about 2 guys that could probably be stars on an individual team. Like, they are stacked, 1 through 5. But that doesn't mean that they're unbeatable. It's not Kevin Durant on the Warriors, right? Like, and again, one of the things that I really wanted to see Boston face that they never really did was adversity, right? Like, we still don't know, like, what would they have looked like going into a game 7, right? Even though they would have been at home, like, what would it look like if they went down, 3-2? Do they just fold and collapse, right? Like, they just kind of cruise through everybody. Now, look, I'm not saying, you see a lot of noise where people are like, oh, Boston, Boston still won the championship, right? They played the teams that were in front of them. I understand the path and all the injuries and all that stuff. There's a lot of questions, sure, but just like I defend the bubble championship because I think it's a silly argument, I'll still defend the Boston Celtics. It's just tough pill to swallow because it's the Boston Celtics and, Laker fan, but it's the reality, right? Like, Boston can't control who they play. They just show up, do their job, and they did their job, right? Like, but the closest adversity that they faced was being down 1-0 and then just didn't lose a game after. Like, no one stood a chance. It wasn't even close, right? Where the Lakers, I do believe, with right now as currently constructed, I would take the Celtics, right? I think the Lakers would have a real chance. Again, the Lakers would have the 2 best players on the court, right? But I just think front to back, Boston is good. And look, I know Lakers beat Boston without LeBron James and Anthony Davis last year and look good, but it's a big difference come playoff time, right? The big difference, again, 7 games. Could Lakers beat them once? Sure. But a 7-game series is a little tough, right? Now, I do like how the Lakers match up against Boston. If I'm being honest, I do. Even currently constructed, I like how they match up. I also think the Lakers have an advantage in the depth department. But Boston is the better team and defending champions. And I just, if I had to bet on it, right? If it was just like, hey, everything on the line, right? Like, yeah, I would have to take Boston. But I don't think the Lakers are that far removed, right? I think if the Lakers got, and I've maintained this all offseason, they just get 2 just quality pieces, then I think they're right there, right? Now, obviously, they could go and get, I think if you got like a Zack LaVine, I just think Zack LaVine is probably the biggest ceiling raiser that the Lakers could acquire as far as like one player goes. And I do think, Zack LaVine, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis healthy, keep Jared Vanderbilt, and if he can stay healthy, Max Christie, right? You get some defensive pieces. I do think now the Lakers are in that conversation, right? Because again, like, you'd have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, 2 best players on the court. And then Zack LaVine, I mean, when he's on and he's cooking, he's up there with the best of them, right? I don't think he's top 15 player, 20 player, 30 player, but he is a very good player. And again, when he's on and cooking, I mean, you're talking, he can go get you anywhere from 30 to 50 on any given night. Dude played 25 games last season, still gave you a 50 piece, right? The dude is a bucket getter, absolute bucket getter, and can keep up when he's on, he can keep up with the Tatums and the Browns of the world, right? But, I don't think the Lakers necessarily need that star, huge splash to be able to be in that conversation with the Boston Celtics, right? You get the right piece, yes, right? Like if, Kyrie became available, using him as an example, right? Or Steph, right? Maybe that's a better example, right? Without going down the Kyrie rabbit hole. But, like if the Lakers were able to trade for Steph right now, right? Like, yeah, like those 3 healthy, you and me could be their 4th and 5th guy, and we'd still probably win a championship, right? Because how talented they are. At that point, now you can make an argument the Lakers have the 3 best players on the court at all times, right? But I don't think that they necessarily need that, right? I think, if you got, a Jeremy Grant and a Bruce Brown, or, Cam Johnson and a Bruce Brown, or, Wendell Carter Jr. and Cam Johnson, right? Like, you can get a piece, and I think the Lakers are in that conversation now, right? It's got to be the right piece. Like, Lakers just signed Christian Coloco, right? Like, I don't think Christian Coloco is now the difference, right? Like, I don't think him by himself, like, could he have an impact? Could he win you a game or 2 that you might have not have won otherwise? Sure. Okay, I'll give you that. But realistically, he's not like, unless he just is a double-double with, 3 blocks a game, right? Like, unless he's like 10 and 10 with 3 blocks a game off the bench, then I don't think he's really going to have that level of impact. Plus, there's a lot of questions, and he's not even on the main roster, right? But, I also think if the Lakers were to just get one piece, unless it was like a Zack LaVine or a Kyrie or, Trae Young or something like that, I think if they just got like Jeremy Grant, I think the Lakers would be better, but I don't think that they're, top, 5 team in the league or anything like that. Top 3 team in the league, right? I still think that they're, I think, again, they're better. Let's say they're top 15 team. Maybe they move into the top 10 with a Jeremy Grant, right? I think personally they're top 10 right now, but just for argument's sake, right? I just think, and you look at this Lakers team and you look at the roster, and it's not this super stacked team, yes, but they have good size, they have good versatility, they have stars. They're gonna have much better coaching, in my opinion, right? Like, Joe Mazzulla was much better, but he still has a lot of questions, right? Like, he's still at times not great, right? Like, Boston kind of feels like they were just one of those teams that they just had the most talent, right? And they were. I mean, they were the most talented team in the league all season. And again, you look at the roster, it's insane. It's unfairly insane. But I do think that the Lakers, depending on what kind of Austin Reeves you get, and D'Lo, right? Obviously, what kind of Rui come playoff time. I do think the Lakers have a shot, right? I mean, this time last year, people were talking about, are the Lakers the best team in the league? Even Laker haters were talking about, are the Lakers the best team in the league? Now we go from that to, like, they're total bums, right? And, as much as people like to say, like, oh, the Lakers didn't get better, they did. If JJ Redick is even half competent, the Lakers got better, right? But let's remove JJ from the conversation for a moment. Just take the coaching staff right now and then compare that to the coaching staff that Darvin Ham had. And you can even leave Darvin Ham on that coaching staff. Remove JJ from the equation, period. Our coaching staff right now is better than Darvin Ham plus his coaching staff. So you add JJ Redick into it, and if he can just be, again, competent, I think the Lakers are better. Right? And this is a team that won 47 games last year. And that's including going on a 10-13 stretch in which they lost 10 games. Right? Like, otherwise, if they win half of that, they're, top 4 seed in the Western Conference. Right? Like, I think the Lakers are, don't get me wrong, there's a gap between the Lakers and the Celtics. But I don't think it's this monumental gap. Right? I don't think the Celtics are unbeatable. Right? I don't think we're talking KD to the Warriors good, right? But I do think that they're very good. And I know that the stats and stuff like that. But you also got to look at, that's where I think the competition and stuff comes in. I understand the Lakers or the Celtics win differential and stuff like that. People talk about, oh man, were they like 12 and a half points or something like that. But it's also expected when, you're playing the competition you're playing. And on top of that, you get to the playoffs and the injuries and stuff like that. Again, Celtics' job is to play whoever's in front of them. And they did that. And they did it with success. But I do think that, like, if you're going to make the argument, don't make it the argument about them winning the championship. Make the argument about, like, the win, differential, right? But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Think Lakers aren't that far from Boston. There's definitely a gap, but they're not like, light years away like they're trying to make it seem. Do you think, no, like they are a significant ways away? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you.